Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Alpha 3.18 is an incredibly important patch for Star Citizen with its many milestones in tech and features. It should be starting its long testing cycle soon for hopefully a release around the end of September. But today I want to talk about salvage in a bit more detail as one of the focuses of that patch. And Cloud Imperium have hinted at recently that they are already working on deeper salvage beyond that patch and some more interesting gameplay than just the vultures hull stripping and hand salvage. So, the first implementation of salvage in the persistent universe for Alpha 3.18 is going to include both hull stripping as well as repairing. So you're going to be able to hull strip by hand, and you're also going to be able to hull strip with the systems on board the Drake Vulture. Hull stripping by hand will be done with a salvage multi-tool attachment. This will rip and suck up the other hull of the ship that you're pointing it at. You can sort of strip the outer hull, and then it will store it in a canister. The hand tool attachment will also allow you to repair ships with that same stored material. But you can also just sell it for profit. It stores it in cans. I believe you can have it dispensed out of a system on board the Drake Vulture as well. But you can sell those for profit. You can use them to patch up a hull. The Drake Vulture light salvage ship is planned to be flyable in 3.18 as well, having the hull stripping mechanics at a much larger scale than by hand, though I don't believe it's going to have any form of repairing. We actually got a preview of that Vulture at Fleet Week, where it looked mostly ready, to be honest. Obviously, we didn't see any of it set up for actual hull stripping at that time working, but we have seen some early demos of hull stripping from it before in Inside Star Citizen. Excitingly, it appears that the Reclaimer might be getting some functionality and updates at the same time. We saw in a recent development update, Cloud Imperium say, significant progress was made on ship salvage, with an improved HUD being created for the Drake Vulture's salvage mode. They also added additional aiming functionality tailored to the unique setup of the ship's arms. The Reclaimer's salvage turrets were also properly set up and can now scrape hulls. This suggests that they might be ready for Alpha 3.18 as well, giving the Reclaimer similar functionality to the Vulture. This does make sense because Cloud Imperium have been working on Reclaimer derelicts and settlements for Alpha 3.17.2 as well, so basically they've been looking at the ship. They've been potentially updating the ship, so I would not be surprised to also see when they make these turrets work, them also give lighting passes to the ship and sort of polish passes, things like that, if they haven't already. So how exactly will salvage mechanics work in Alpha 3.18? We don't know exactly yet because it's probably slightly in flux and some bits might change. However, it looks like the assumed loop is that you'll be able to sort of scan, ping and detect ships. Obviously, you can do that anyway. You'll be able to target a ship, and then when in your salvage mode in the Vulture, you'll then be able to use the hull stripping beams to strip the hull of the ship by literally controlling the beams up and down, moving them, removing just the outer layer of the hull and exposing the innards underneath. And it looks like at this stage with hull stripping, the minigame is just going to be removing the hull as efficiently as possible, because if you're going over an area that you've already stripped the hull from, you're not going to be getting any more materials. Now, it's not been confirmed what ships you're going to be able to salvage in 3.18. It looks like to me, though, that it will be any ship that a player or NPC can fly at the moment. But it might not be that settlements and derelicts that are made out of like other ships will be salvageable, because in the way they're set up, they're sort of like more static. They're buildings effectively. But we'll have to wait and see. So assuming they go down the route, and that's what it looks like they are, that all ships pretty much that are flyable are going to be salvageable in 3.18. Well, the fact they've got full persistence in at the same time, potentially saving destroyed ships' locations, and then you can sort of come back for them later and salvage them later, it is fantastic. That does mean that when ships blow up, they will have to leave a wreck behind as well, if they go that route. So that said, some people think it's just going to be very specific ships at salvage locations that you'll be able to sort of salvage in 3.18, but I'm hoping for more. But the material that you gain from stripping those hulls, that can literally be sold at stations and landing zones for profit. And in the future, you should be able to salvage all ships. There's a lot more to come with Salvage as well beyond 3.18. They are working on vehicle munching at the moment to expand out the salvage gameplay, implementing the ability to transform large chunks of metal salvaged from ships into a refinable material. This will use the grinder systems aboard salvage ships like the Vulture and Reclaimer, and work for this is planned to wrap up at the moment at the end of Q1 2023, so the end of March. And I believe that this was originally called Maw Salvage, as in salvage that was taken into the gaping maw of a ship, though it's possible that munching just refers to the process of refining salvage materials into, a refined material. But it looks to me like this actually just replaced that name. So also, just generally the way they're treating salvage looks similar to the way they've treated mining, which is salvage will be getting additions and features reasonably quickly to make it more functional and fleshed out. At least that's what it looks like. And there are multiple types of salvaging. So Cloud Imperium want to have hull scraping, which we've talked about, both by ship and by hand, and that obviously ties into repair as well. Vehicle munching, which I believe was previously called Maw Salvage. I am thinking that these materials will also be used for larger scale repair and component manufacture, because, they're just materials made out of ships. Makes sense. Cloud Imperium have previously talked about salvage charges as well. So basically blowing bits off ships, and then you'd munch them down, pull them into your ship, with tractor beams or with claws or whatever, but vehicle munching would then basically crush rare and precious materials down into cubes of any given material, or just like a salvage cube which you can flog. Siphoning liquids and gases is another type of salvage, taking fuels, atmosphere from a ship, liquids, all that sort of jazz. Potentially it might be something that the Starfarer will be able to do, or they might build a specialist ship for it. There's also technically component removal, which is literally the removing of a weapon or component from a ship, taking it back to yours, and then selling it. Tractor beams play a big part with salvage mechanics as well. I suppose they do with mining too. They will allow you to help move ships or bits of ships or their components to you. You could also potentially call the hauling back of a whole ship that's been disabled or whatever, with like a big tow truck like the SRV, a type of salvage as well. So what exactly are the Vulture and the Reclaimer going to be able to do? So with Alpha 3.18, with the Vulture, it's just going to be hull stripping. But beyond that, the sort of description of the ship originally read, "Rip wrecks apart like a pro without the cumbersome hardware and multi-crew rigmarole of a larger ship. Answer to no one, cut out the middleman, and throw caution to the wind. In a Vulture, you can pick up the lucrative scraps of large operations, run the regular trade circuits fast and light, or hit the open sky and carve out your own place in the great big empty." So the Vulture has its hull stripping, but it also has a large specialist tractor array, so that it can easily bring big chunks of salvage on board, and it features a super compact onboard processor capable of separating and prepping raw salvaged materials. So that sounds like it's going to be able to munch that valuable material into little blocks like they've talked about earlier. Now, that's just going to be on a smaller scale than the Reclaimer can do it, but potentially Q1, Q2 of next year, you're going to be able to have that sort of vehicle munching in for the Vulture as well. It does look like Cloud Imperium are also working on tractor beams for ships at the moment too, but I'm expecting them to talk more about that later this year, because tractor beam tech is incredibly important. Obviously we have it on the smaller scale and it's working, but with the cargo refactor coming, and with salvage and so many things being helped by tractor beams, it just sort of makes sense that they get them in game as quick as they can. So what are we waiting for from the Reclaimer? So the Reclaimer's already in game, but it's supposed to be getting a lot of additional functionality as well. Obviously, hull scraping, potentially in 3.18, which is great. And we know it's also going to be able to do that sort of hull munching as well, the vehicle munching. And to that end, it is equipped with a massive multi-tool arm. The Reclaimer can grab spaceborne salvage and then carry it aboard for processing. So that brings it on board, it can pull it into all its machinery, nom stuff up, and it's supposed to, originally anyway, it's supposed to have enough room to be able to store basically a whole dismantled constellation. So basically tractor beams pull all bits of components, and the arm holds onto it or pulls it in as well, and then you can have all these ships being nommed up, or bits of ships being nommed up and turned into valuable materials. There are some other features the ship's supposed to potentially get, well, at least some features that it was planned to have in its original concept. A manned cutter craft, which will be deployable for EVA and recovery operations. The cutter will carry tools and supplies and transport recovered artifacts back aboard your reclaimer, is the idea. A very small little ship thing. An array of surveyor-class drones as well for seeking out valuable items, sort of sound like scout drones or potentially even drones that have the ability to do some light salvage themselves. So the ship could potentially have modularity down the line at some point, being able to specialise more in certain areas, maybe, but we'll have to wait and see with that. I'm expecting other salvage ships and potentially ground vehicles in the future as well, or at least some modularity for ships like the Caterpillar to be able to have some salvage options. Boom! That's it for your Star Citizen salvage update and chat today. We are getting close to having this extremely elusive mechanic in game now. I've wanted and expected it to turn up anytime over the last 3 years, and it's finally now actually on the horizon. But what do you think? Are you excited for Alpha 3.18? Do you have a Vulture or a Reclaimer? Do you like the idea of hull stripping and making profit from that? Is it something you'll do on a smaller scale with the hand tool? Are you waiting for the larger scale vehicle munching salvage? Or do you think it's going to be worth repairing by hand or too time consuming and fiddly, and when it comes to you making use of these sort of salvage materials at the smaller level? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Hello, it's me, the Queen. It's my Platinum Jubilee this year, and safety and security are paramount. Lots of people ask me why we need a Queen and NordVPN. I defend the world with my sceptre and crown, preventing those who do it harm from carrying out their evil deeds. Channeling the power of nordvpn.com/BoredGamer and my divine right, I can overcome any obstacle, and so can you, by using the links below to get great deals and better internet accessibility, security, and encryption acidity. I don't know what that word was that I was trying to say, but I am the Queen! I will never be defeated, just like nordvpn.com/BoredGamer.
That wasn't the Queen at all. It was me. It was BoredGamer. I've got to say this at the end, actually, now, just in case someone says I'm impersonating the Queen. Tried to get her, but she was too busy. She says got like a busy weekend or something. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For June, we're giving away the newly released RSI Scorpius Heavy Fighter. This is a 2-seater X-Wing styled ship with a powerful loadout and a turret that can move from the top to the bottom of the ship, giving it a much better range of firing arcs. To be in for a chance of winning that, comment on any of my videos made during this month. More details in the description below. Please also consider supporting the channel by becoming a member with the join button under my videos, or becoming a Patreon, or even donating with a thanks button or donations in the descriptions below. Star Citizen is getting more and more flesh on its bones, and there's always news coming out, and we love to cover that, and we're only able to do that because of all of you watching and all the amazing people that go the extra mile, whether it's commenting, sharing our videos, chucking money at us or whatever. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great June. Please take care, and I'll see you in the verse.